Hi guys, it's been a long time, haven't posted a video in a long time, but I've been really busy. I built a shop. I've also started a business, oldsoldiertoolworks.com. Put a link down in the doobly-doo. So what we're doing today is we are going to go over the forge build that I last left off on, what happened, what's good, what's bad, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going from here. So stick with me and let's have some fun. So here we have the completed and now very well used forge from the Forge Build Part 1 video. This forge has been really great. I've used it a ton, gets nice and hot, but there are some problems with it that I'm going to address right now. I'm going to let you guys know, and then I'll show you what my solution is. So, first thing, burners. The burners actually have worked quite well, but they are wildly inefficient. They don't really get enough air down and into them to get complete combustion in the forge. So, this whole pattern obviously is not quite enough. It has meant that getting up to forge welding temperatures for this is a bit of a challenge. You can do it, but just. And it also wastes a lot of fuel in the fuel consumption. The other problem with this is that it is now completely had the lining ruined. It started off with 2 inches of KO wool and then a coating of ITC. I did not use wool rigidizer on it. And as a result, there's now a little spot about this big that has ITC left on it, and the rest of it is all bare. And as you can see in the still images that I'm putting up right now, it got shredded pretty badly. As well, the bottom bricks, even though the 2600 degree bricks, are just slowly deteriorating, turning into dust. All that normally wouldn't be so much of a problem, except for the fact that I, very badly by the way, welded both sides of this closed. That means relining it is going to be a bit of a challenge. That said, I have a solution. Here we have the solution. I've built a second forge. So this is going to be Forge Build Part 2.0. What we've got is a bent steel body with bolt-on front and back. Inside, there is 2 inches of ceramic wool as well as some very dense high temperature bricks. And the burner assembly is 2 of the Gamaco Alex Steel style burners. They're the small ones, the 1/2 inch variety, which should be more than enough for this small forge. And gas parts that I plumbed up. And what we're going to do today is kind of where I left off with the Forge Build Part 1 video. I'm going to show you how the lining is done, and then I'm going to put some rigidizer and some ITC on it. So looking at the burner assembly, which you guys can see is not even anywhere near straight, but it doesn't matter, it's going to work. All this is essentially up to here is parts from, up to the valves is actually parts from the burner kits that Alex Steel sells. Alright, so you've got a Venturi with an adjustable choke that goes down into a tube. Large, very heavy duty flares that I have welded onto the forge body itself. They're about 1 inch on the inside, so that's 1 inch back from the edge of the KO wool. From here back, that is all standard Home Depot, big box hardware store available plumbing parts. Right, a couple of 2 inch nipples, 90 degree, a T. And then, of course, we have a fitting where we are going to add our high pressure line and regulator. So I'm going to pull this out of the box, we'll connect that, and then we'll move on to what's going on the inside. Okay, so you can see that inside this forge, the walls are done with 2 inches of KO wool, just like the last one. These here are the high density, high temperature bricks that I have acquired. I am not exactly sure what to call them, but they work really well. You can notice that inside this forge that has a fully walled off back and no pass-through. I decided to do this to try and help keep some of the heat in and make it so it's not a problem for me to have a wider forge opening. I am going to be redoing the Forge 1.0. I'm going to reline it so that way I can continue to use that for any long projects. In addition, you can see here the way we've done this is actually put bolts on little tabs so that we can take the front off if we do ever need to reline it. What we'll be doing today, and in this video as a whole, which is probably not just going to be one day, we are going to be using some silica rigidizer to firm up that wool, and then once that's all said and done, back to the ITC 100 to give us some better reflectivity and hopefully a nice hot forge. Sitting here reading the warnings, making sure that I'm not going to be doing anything silly in this. Eye irritant, wear a respirator, fluidly flush skin. Apparently it can cause all sorts of nasty stuff, but there's nothing that says we can't lick it. Well, let's see what we can do. Well, look at that, it's bright blue. Anyways, yield disposable brush, nastiest pair of rubber gloves you have. Let's spread some of this on there and see what happens. Ooh, that's getting everywhere. I see no way this could possibly go wrong. As always, I would like to remind everyone, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how much of this stuff you're supposed to put on here. Keep putting it on until no more goes on. That seems to be working. Kind of, sort of, I guess. Alright, I think we can probably stop filming this. Well, that has now had a fairly thorough coating of rigidizer. It's a lovely blue color. Is that enough rigidizer? I don't know. I have no idea. It says you can go up to 1.5 liters per square meter. I don't know. We'll let that dry and see what happens. So we're back. It's a couple of days later. The inside of this has been thoroughly lined with rigidizer. However, it's not drying. It's been left for a couple of days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to fire up this forge, and we'll see if that maybe dries it out. It might have to be fired like a lot of other ceramic products. We'll see. Close those off a little bit, try again. Take two. Well, it seems to be working. I'm going to have to trim some of the cable wool around the burner gaps. But didn't blow up, so that's a thing. Yeah, let's turn up the pressure and see what happens. I wonder if that's just a cycle back problem. Let's try it. Yeah. So, sometimes when you have Venturi burners like this, there's a problem called cycling back. Where essentially the combusted air, which is mostly carbon dioxide and water at this point, although obviously it's not complete combustion, will rise up and then try to be sucked back down by the Venturi effect. It'll cause a kind of a woof, 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 and eventually it actually can break the Venturi and have the gas shoot back up towards the nozzle. So, not a great thing. Best thing to do something to make sure that that doesn't happen. Shouldn't be a problem once I get the insulation on the inside here. So, firing that worked perfectly. I think it actually needs to be fired because now, nice and rigid on the inside. Sounds kind of hollow. All the blue has turned back to a sort of grayish color. So anyways, what I'm going to do next is use some of this, which is called ITC 100. It's a high temperature ceramic coating that you can put on the inside of things like kilns. I'm going to go and sort of paint the inside with it. You mix it up with some water, which I have done in my oh so professional Tim Hortons cup. And hopefully after this will actually be ready to run. Awesome, let's see how it goes. Oh my god, why did I not use rigidizer before? That was so super easy. Yeah, the rigidizer really makes applying the ITC a lot more simple. It doesn't soak up so much into the KO wool, and it leaves a really nice surface. I'm going to bring the camera around so you can take a look. Okay guys, I don't know how well you can see inside there, but now the formerly whitish gray coating is now very much gray. It's looking pretty perfect, to be honest. Those couple of blobs that fell down, not a big deal. They'll definitely be ejected by the forge at some point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let this sit for a few hours, and then I'm going to fire it, and that should be done. Let's see what happens. Okay guys, so I did a quick sort of fire to set the ITC, ran it back down, and right now I'm just sort of gradually cranking up the gas to see how this forge performs. Thus far I can tell immediately that it is way less wasteful when it comes to the propane. Everything appears to actually be combusting. I don't have lots of flame shooting out. And it took a little bit to get up to temperature, but now that it has, holy cow, she's cooking. So I'm going to keep dialing it up and let's see what it can do. I turned off the big light in here just so I could get a better read on the temperature that's going on. And damn, that thing is hot. That is like, I think I am certainly darn close to, if not at, forge welding temperature right there. That's with the regulator run wide open, and it is gotten up to temperature in no time flat. I'm gonna see if I can melt something. That's insane. Yep. I think that'll do. And that rail spike is once again glowing almost white. Oh, this is gonna be awesome! Okay, so needless to say, it works. In the words of one of my most beloved YouTubers, that thing chooches. Oh my god, does it ever chooch? So yeah. This is going to be the end of the Forge Build Part 2.0 video. I hope this has been informative, and I'm very sorry for taking so long to get another one out to you guys. But I hope it was worth it. I learned an awful lot about how to make these things run a little better. And I think in the future what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rebuild Forge 1.0 and see if I can fix some of the problems with it and get those homemade burners running. Because I know not everyone can afford to get one shipped from England or Australia, depending on where you are. So yeah, we'll call it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.